direct, broadcasting around the world. This is the Whatever Happened to Common Sense show with your host, Gerard, giving you common sense feedback for today's most interesting and intriguing topics.
Thank you for tuning in to the Whatever Happened to Common Sense show. I'm your host with the most, your brother from another, Mr. Gerard. How's everybody been since our last episode? I hope everything is going well. We don't take anything for granted, and we know it is a tremendous blessing to be able to deliver you another great show. I want to personally thank you for your support. I want to holler at our fans all over the country, and I want to shout out our newest supporters from Canada and from France. It is definitely because of your support that our show is able to grow at a tremendous rate. So again, I definitely want to thank you for listening, and I want to thank you for your support. During our first segment, I want to share some tips with those who may be experiencing difficulties and setbacks as a result of our current situation. I believe it is important for us to maintain a clear mind, utilize our faith, and be creative in maximizing any resources that may be available. This season of confusion doesn't have to destroy you or cause you to lose. In spite of what may be occurring, you still have the ability to win your situation. Lastly, we're going to discuss the disproportionality of COVID-19 infections and deaths amongst the African American community. We're going to review the data, review some of the root causes, and I'm going to share additional viewpoints from my own personal perspective. As always, we must give honor to God and thank Him for watching over us and keeping us safe. We recognize that it's because of His grace, His mercy, and His favor that we are able to do great things. For our social media fans, please follow us on Twitter at Whatever Common. Like us on Facebook at We Use Common Sense. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listening to our show is so easy, as we are currently on 15 streaming services, including all of the major platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. For our first topic, I want to simply encourage those who may be experiencing setbacks, difficulties, and intense stress as a result of our current COVID-19 situation. I want to do this by sharing some of my own personal battles and the strategies that I use to keep going forward. And this applies to those who may have lost a loved one or are currently experiencing financial issues. Over the past 4 years, I've experienced the deaths of 5 family members and friends that were close to me. Over this period, I lost my last living grandmother and grandfather, an aunt, a cousin, and a childhood friend who was in his 40s. When I received the news that they had passed, the immediate impact of their deaths had a brother a little emotional, definitely. But not simply because they had died, but from the vantage point that they had a tremendous impact on my life. One of the comments that I remember making is that it seems as if I'm losing too many of the good people in my life. You know, those people who show you unconditional love, who show you support, who got your back no matter what. The people who encourage and help to motivate you. The life skills that they taught me are simply a part of my fabric and are part of my foundation. You know, and because of that, I get it. You know, the grieving process can be tough. But as I began to reflect and process during each of those moments, I found a source of strength through my personal relationship with God. You can tell He is my starting point for everything. Now, it's not my personality to be preachy or act as if I'm perfect, because I know I got some flaws. But one thing that I am sure of is that He will comfort you and provide you with the peace that you need to be able to stand up, maintain a clear mind, and not let your emotions overtake you. Allowing situations to consume you, no matter how intense that they may be, will affect your ability to make quality decisions, which in turn will impact other areas of your life. Plus, it would be a disservice to all the love and the wisdom that your deceased loved ones gave you. For those who may be experiencing financial drama, I encourage you to stay the course. Now, we already talked about my source of strength, and I believe you should get to know Him. But in addition to that, I want to talk about a few other key points. You've heard me in previous episodes talk about my humble beginnings. You know, times were definitely tough as a kid, and the struggle did not stop when I became a young adult and later on after I got married. Fortunately, one of the blessings that came out of those early situations was that I developed a survivalist mentality that I attempt to use every day, regardless of what I'm facing. One thing that I learned is that if you wait to utilize these skills only when a problem occurs, you may not be prepared to effectively handle it. So you may ask, well, what does all of this mean? Well, it's being frugal, resourceful, and wise with your money. And these are skills that you should use at all times, regardless of whether your bank account is looking good or looking not so good. Like my pop-pop and my parents would say, you better learn how to save and stretch a dollar. Now, what I would add to this is to also learn how to invest and develop multiple streams of income. But I'm going to leave that topic for another episode. So if you're currently in a tough situation financially, I encourage you to utilize common sense strategies, such as buying food in bulk, utilizing the federal support that you are eligible for, networking with friends and family to put your money together to buy and share resources, etc., etc., and etc. One of the things that my wife and I did was shop at the local meat market instead of going to the supermarket that has limited resources and higher prices during this current situation. And there hasn't been a time yet in which the meat market wasn't fully stocked, along with having good prices. One of my cousins shared with me a couple weeks ago that he had an opportunity to buy a bulk supply of masks, but he didn't follow through because he didn't want to buy the number that was being offered. My response to him was that he should have presented it to the family so we all could have shared the cost and the resource. Again, we got to strive to use common sense approaches. To close this part of our episode, I know life can be full of ups and downs, and we all have our different times and seasons. Some will prosper financially while others may struggle, but don't be discouraged. Your time will come. I encourage you to develop a common sense approach, and that is trusting God, remaining optimistic. Try your best to make good decisions. Utilize a survivalist mentality and be prepared to receive your prosperity when it comes.